Welcome back to your live continuing official coverage of Toy Fair 2015 here in New York City on BeTerrific. We're so proud to be the TIA, Toy Industry Association's partner here, and we're bringing you some really great stuff. Got a lot of awesome stuff coming up in the next few days too, a lot more toys to get to, a lot of great stuff from the floor as our crew is doing a phenomenal job running around, getting everything going here and bringing people on. We've got Button Nose Kidz on right now. I'll tell you what that is in just a minute, but I want to make sure you know how to connect with us. BeTerrific TV on Twitter and Instagram. Connect at BeTerrific.com for email. And of course, you can download our app, app.BeTerrific.com. That's for Android and iOS as well as Kindle, so that you can take us with you on the road, engage with us, and of course watch our archive content as well as our live content. BeTerrific is all about putting out live original and non-live original programming in tech, sports, business, and entertainment, having fun, sending out positive messages that inspire, enlighten, enrich, and inform and entertain the lives of our audience. All right, we've got Button Nose Kidz here. You guys have a really interesting story, and it's really an interesting industry, especially you're part of it. You guys do not only programming, but also products that go along with that. Jamel, first talk about how you came up with this idea and how you created it and why.
Well, honestly, it came from, the idea came from attending trade shows. I was attending a trade show in Atlanta, and I knew that I wanted to come up with my own product. And in the midst of trying to come up with my own product, I ended up coming up with my own character. Once I came up with the character, it just spiraled out of control.
Now your character's about positive messages, anti-bullying, all that stuff. It's really important. We believe that, and we believe in promoting that. But talk about the responsibility the industry has to do that in general, to get those messages out. I'm not talking about after-school specials we saw as children.
Right.
I'm not talking about the Scared Straight. I'm talking about actually starting at a young age to create positive content. And you know, I was thinking about it when I was showing up here yesterday as we were loading in. You know, why does everything have to have this arc where there has to be a down? I was thinking about the How to Train Your Dragons movies, and I love them, and I'm trying to watch them with my son, but there's always an arc to them, and it has to go negative before it can go back positive.
Yeah.
Why? Why can't we just have an all happy?
Well, and that's what we try to do with the Button Nose Kidz. I'm the writer behind the music and our live productions. And, you know, even though we touch on subjects that are pertaining to what the children are going through now, we try to make it happy through the music, and we try to, you know, give a good positive atmosphere during our shows. And, you know, I think that keeping it positive is the way to go. I really do.
I couldn't agree with you more. Talk about the responsibility that the industry has to do this stuff. You know, you know, the industry really has to kind of, I don't want to say police themselves, that doesn't make sense, but really put a positive image out there. There aren't people doing positive content. That's one of the reasons we're doing it. We love it. But doesn't the industry, especially with kids, have a responsibility to put out this kind of content?
I think they do. I think that, you know, I think that if we had an industry police, it would probably be a lot better. That way, you know, people would have to follow a guideline and keep the negativity out of what we're feeding to the children, you know.
How hard is it to bring this kind of content or any kind of content to children?
Well, can I answer that one?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I think a lot of it is getting to them young enough, old enough where they're going to understand, but young enough that they haven't been hooked on the negative images.
Yeah.
Their older siblings and the people they see in the neighborhood, with the less positive images out in entertainment. And so a lot of the positive images out there are also kind of goofy.
Yeah.
They're nerdy, they're weird, they're not cool, you know,
Exactly.
and they're not role models that the kids are going to want to be after first or second grade.
Yeah.
And so what we're trying to do with the kids is make them likable, relatable, cool through the whole thing. One of our characters is a black child who's a genius, and he's not, I don't know if I can say this, but we call him the anti-Urkel, because he's not a nerd. You know, he's cool. The older kids like him.
Well,
They
I mean,
include
look,
him.
so there's nothing wrong with being a nerd, There's
No.
nothing wrong with being a geek. We praise it. We have an entire geek audience watching from Geek Beat, one of our syndication partners, and we
When
and we
they're
love
older.
that. But we have to show people that this stuff is acceptable. When I think back to any bullying that I was a part of, and playing sports, you do it, and all sorts of ways, I think it was so silly and such nonsense. For the most part, though, I really was very inclusive of everybody. I'm anti like secret societies and clubs and all that. In fact, in college, I was begged by the fraternities to join them. And I refused. I said, I'll hang out with you guys. I'll be friends with you guys. I'm not going through your pledge and to be part of this community that keeps other people out. And there's a lot of other times in life that I've done that. And I think that it's really important to include everybody. And so I think that that's really the message. So, you know, everybody's got to be part of the family. And look, I mean, today's Valentine's Day. Here's a perfect example, right? Not everybody has a significant other to share this day with. That makes it very lonely and hard sometimes. But I think it's a very positive thing if you look at it the right way. And you can think about the ones you love the most, your family members, your friends. I saw somebody earlier put up that, I think it was Janny in the chat room, kept putting up a heart in the NVIDIA, not to give a brand name, but NVIDIA is a graphics card company that they love. They heart NVIDIA. And it was kind of cool, and it was all techie, and it was like, you know, I love tech, I love gear, and so that's cool. And I think that as long as you do that and you make it a positive instead of being feeling alone and feeling down. And look, there are plenty of people who are in relationships that feel alone. So it's just everything's got to be turned into a positive, and I think it's the way we look at things. So, you know, I think that what you guys are doing is great, and it's really important to show kids out there from a very early age, in general, about, look, this is how you have to approach life. This is what you need to do. And you have to accept people for who they are and not judge them.
And that's why we have a whole array of characters, all different personalities, different backgrounds, you know, try to come up with different concepts with the characters that can relate to everyone, you know. So we most definitely are in that same mindset.
How hard is it to bring this stuff to market, though? Because especially when this is not the most popular genre, okay?
Right. Even though we manufacture our products, you know, that's kind of our selling point, is that we're not just a doll or we're not just a book. You know, we're actually, you know, in the community with the live performances and really making a difference.
And you come at it from a kind of a different perspective too, being a criminal defense attorney by day and doing this by night, or vice versa.
Yeah, kind of day and night, both of them mixed now.
But the point is that you see it across the board, and you are looking to make a difference in the community in general.
Right, I'm looking to ease the job of the criminal defense lawyers by having less clients down the road if they can start younger,
because there are
and
also
keep kids from turning into criminal activities.
Well, and hate crimes, right? There are a lot of hate crimes, and it's nonsense. There's no reason.
No,
it is.
I mean, kids just don't understand. Dead is dead.
That's for sure.
So we just want to give them something they can look up to.
All right, so tell me about the characters we got in here. We got one character who's a genius. What else do we have?
Okay, there's actually 9 characters.
And you thought of all 9?
I thought of all 9.
That's impressive. How long did that take you?
I've been doing the Button Nose Kidz for 6 years now.
6 years?
6 years.
And how long did it take you to come up with 9 characters, though, or did they didn't all come up at once?
No, I started with 5, and we developed the other 4 over the time of 6 years.
Okay, so what do we have?
Well, we have Double Button.
Okay.
He's a football player, athlete.
All right.
Very popular.
That's you as a kid.
I wouldn't say me, but you know, one of my friends maybe.
Okay.
We have Needle Button.
Okay.
And him and Thread is kind of a pair, which you know they're pranksters, like jokesters, but they're still good kids. So we try to relate, you know, real life situations and make it into a positive. So even though they're pranksters and you know they play jokes, but they're still, you know, doing positive things as far as playing sports and being involved and socializing. Good grades. We got Tony Baloney. Tony Baloney is a guy who's a little out of shape, You know,
Does he have like? Is he like, hey, I'm Tony Baloney? Hey.
nah, he's more like that nerdy figure. You know, that smart
okay.
kid, but he's, like I say, he's a little out of shape.
Sure.
He's maybe picked on a little bit, but through his musical performances, what I try to do is I try to turn Tony Baloney into a cool kid that's likable because of his perspective and his views on things.
I love the name Tony Baloney. I feel like he should be a Sopranos cast member.
Yeah. The kids love Tony Baloney.
Love this one, Suede.
Okay, now Suede, he's the new guy.
Where do you come up with these names?
I got a vivid imagination.
Clearly.
Just to be honest, I think while I'm writing the stories.
What were you like as a kid? Were you picked on?
I
Were
was
you
a-
the cool kid?
I was always a cool kid, but I was always an artist. I was an
Okay.
artist. I wasn't.
So
into
that
the
wasn't,
sports.
you weren't 100% the cool kid. Let's
Yeah.
be honest about
Well,
that. You
I had to-
traded on, you had to trade on a little cool kid stuff to be the artist, and
Well,
then the artist had to trade some.
I had the physical features. I look good, so I kind of fit in.
Nothing like confidence. We should
Oh
get.
yeah. Well, he's kind of a brand in and of
Yeah.
himself, and we're going to do a book on his life someday.
What is
Yeah.
your life story then? It's got to be interesting.
Yeah, it was an interesting story. Let's just say I grew up in a rough environment.
Where'd you grow up?
Well, I lived in several cities, and that's another part of my story. You know, I traveled a lot, but I don't look at it as a hindrance. I look at it as being something that created who I am today. And
Right,
without those different experiences, I wouldn't be able to have that vivid imagination that could create different characters.
And it's certainly part of your story.
If our
Yeah.
company goes big, then he's even more of an inspiration, you know.
Yeah,
And that's what
exactly.
we're
Well, I
here
think
for,
he's
is to try
already
and.
an
Oh,
inspiration.
of course, but
Yeah.
more people will know about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, all right, rattle off the cities. I want to know. What do we got?
Well, I started in Indianapolis.
Okay.
I moved to Los Angeles. After Los Angeles, I stayed in Inglewood for probably around 6 months to a
Englewood,
year.
Colorado, or California?
Inglewood, California.
Okay.
From Inglewood, we moved to Chicago.
Englewood is part of South Central LA. Is that true?
Yes, it's right.
It's a very
yeah.
tough neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then from Inglewood, we ended up in Chicago for a while. That's where my grandmother had lived at. And
South side.
actually, we lived on 64th and Paxton, so it's southeast side,
Okay.
like near Lakeshore Drive. You know.
Sure.
From there, I stayed in Joliet, Illinois. My grandmother opened up a cab stand, and my grandfather was killed in Joliet. So
I'm sorry
after
to hear
that, she, they found him dead in a O'Hara airport, and after that, she closed down the cab stand, and my mom ended up going to Milwaukee. We moved to Milwaukee after that, and after it was all said and done, I ended up back in Indianapolis with my father until I was about maybe 16 and decided to go out on my own. So.
Very interesting story,
Yeah.
and we all have a story. I always say the details are what's different, but
Yeah.
certainly it makes you who you are today. Some very interesting places you've lived.
Yeah.
Joliet's a very nice area. There's actually a really cool racetrack called
Yeah, it
the
is.
Autobahn there.
Yeah, it is.
Do you know the Autobahn?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
It's like a country club for racing.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan has
Yeah.
timeshare there,
Yeah.
all these things.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's where they race their motorcycles at.
Yeah,
I've
and then
heard
you
of
were
it.
there with during the days of the Bulls, probably. The
Yeah,
Bulls
actually I
dynasty.
was. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. The
That's-
Bulls were in the midst of their championships, and that's what we used to love to wear. You know, Chicago Bulls apparel, hats, coats. So on and so forth.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes,
And
I was
then-
a big fan.
And how did that influence you at all? Like, being in Chicago during that time period, with the most popular guys in the NBA being Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, Michael Jordan, Dennis Rodman even. I
Yeah.
mean, that team was a very eclectic
Yeah.
team, too.
Yeah. Well, I think being even of that era and seeing Michael Jordan in his prime, and being able to be in Chicago and those larger cities, with me going back to Indianapolis on a smaller scale, it gave me the ability to think big, and with that I became someone who was able to develop his own company.
How'd you come up with the name Button Nose Kidz?
Because that's what one of my ex-girlfriends used to call me, Button Nose. So she called me Button Nose. I needed a character. I needed a name. It popped up in my head. Once I got it, I rode with it.
And they have button noses.
And they
right.
do have button noses.
I
yeah.
see that, but
Yeah.
I didn't know if that's
Yeah.
if
But
they
that's-
had the button noses before the name or
No.
the name.
No,
And,
yeah.
and then how did you guys hook up?
Just met in Indianapolis.
Yeah, we met. She had kind of been following, what I was doing because, after developing my characters, I started to do live performances with the mascots. You know, I kind of went out on a limb. I believed in it. I invested in it. I got my first set of mascots. I started doing performances at the schools. After that, I came to New York. Once I came to New York and I filmed on Broadway, I had got a filmage permit from the mayor's office. They gave me a Fence Island to film one of my musical productions. We filmed that. You can go see that on YouTube.
You've got a very, very interesting story.
Yeah.
I feel like you had a very rough, hard life growing up with some ups and downs.
Yeah.
And then you're in Indianapolis, and you somehow, it's really a story of inspiration and perseverance.
Yeah.
You never give up. You've never given up.
I never gave up, and I think that's when she came along and she seen what I was doing.
Right.
She was proud of it.
He asked me, you know, can you do that? Can you check this contract? Can you do this? You know, and I'm like, hey, I want in
She
on
was
this.
a lawyer, so,
Right.
Yeah.
exactly.
So he would ask me for advice. You know, we've been together a couple of years, and we'd go off in one direction, and that wasn't working. Then we'd think, okay, let's try this. And late this summer, things just started coming together. He got us in with someone who's hooked us up with a great PR company, the Merit Group, giving them a shout out.
But I mean, get to New York City to give you a film permit is not easy.
No,
So
No,
I
and
mean,
he
this
did
is
that
what I'm
all
talking
on his
about.
own.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is perseverance
He
at
is.
its greatest.
Yeah.
This is getting doors slammed in your face and continuing to
Basically.
drive on because you believe in something.
Yeah, so
Button
that was
Nose Kidz.
Yeah, that was me loading up my truck, and you know, I'm going to New York and I'm a film. You know, I spoke with a few people over the phone. They said that they would give me the opportunity, and I took it. So yeah.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
We
Have you ever
dri-
been to St. Elmo's? You've been to St.
Oh,
Elmo's.
Yes, I have. But
I haven't, but
You got to take them to
Once
St.
I will.
Elmo's. Come on.
when we get our first paychecks, yes. Right now
But,
we're all working for free because we love
Yeah.
it. We drove all night last
All right,
night
so-
to get here.
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Yes, and we're driving all night home tonight.
Well, I
Just one day.
yeah. Well, I've been.
How
planning-
has Toy Fair been for you? How
Oh,
they
it's
talk
great.
about
Oh my
love it.
God,
I love
this
it.
was amazing.
I love it.
This was the best thing we've ever done.
We talked about all day how important it is for young startup companies, for
Oh, very
entrepreneurs,
important.
for the small toy companies, all that stuff to be here.
Well, just
Yeah.
like coming up and seeing what Jamel's like, I want to go see what this BeTerrific thing is.
Yeah.
You know, and here it's a perfect fit.
Yeah.
We've run into a couple things that are just great fits with us.
I just think it's the perfect market for any startup business.
And we wanna be
that's
here next year.
Manufacturing products, and we will be in the show
So
next year.
I'm the operational side.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to see physically, you know,
Sure.
operation standpoint, what do I need to plan for?
No, but he needs to come and meet
He-
people and see it, and he
Yeah.
says, we will be here, and you know what, I believe it, because if you set your mind to it, you can make anything possible, and you're a living proof of that.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
he is.
Where can people get this today? Button
can-
Nose Kidz, where can they get inspired by this content?
You can find us on YouTube. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can go to the website. It's the Button Nose Kidz. The Kids is spelled with a Z, and you can follow us on any social network platform.
Please do that, folks. Give them some love. They're starting
Yeah.
out. They need a little bit of help, and they've got a great concept, some great stuff. It's Button Nose Kidz. I'm glad we found them with the Z. It's the Button Nose Kidz. Of course, it's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles that got them here, that famous movie. I'm sure it feels like that for them. It's such a great journey. We got to know some of their story. Of course, really, really inspiring what's going on in their world, and then headed back to Indianapolis tonight. This is your live continuing official Toy Fair 2015 coverage on BeTerrific from New York City. I'm Michael Artsis. We've got a lot more to come. Don't forget to join our chat room on BeTerrific.com/live under the video player, and of course, you can tweet us and Instagram us at BeTerrificTV. Email us, connect@BeTerrific.com. We'll be back with a whole lot more right after this.
Thanks for
Don't
having
go
us.
anywhere.